Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So this article is Yolanda Howell's story on Inside Scientology, published November 14th, 1994. To the informer, the ill effects of Scientology on my family were devastating and permanent. When we joined Scientology, we were generally a loving and happy family. We had just built an upscale house in the suburbs with all the amenities. My husband and I sought to provide our family with the stability and caring that they required. I was only 21 and had 3 children, ages 4 months, 1 year, and 3 years. Within 1 year after joining Scientology, we were divorced and had moved the children 4 times. My children and I were living in squalor in the Sea Org. I joined Scientology staff at the local mission. This quickly drove my husband crazy. He came to the mission to kill everyone and threatened to blow his blank off with a blankety blank. I acquired sole legal custody after the incident. Someone at the mission handled him, and he went on staff too. He could not pay child support. Sounds like he had a mental breakdown, maybe? I don't know. I joined Scientology staff at the local mission. This quickly drove my husband crazy. He came to the mission to blank everyone and threatened to blank his head off with a blank. I acquired sole legal custody after the incident. Someone at the mission handled him. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm not going to pause and redo it. I'm sorry about that. I joined the Sea Org after being told by a flag recruiter, we've heard this before with the flag recruiters, that we would be given a lovely apartment. My children, over my protests, were taken from me and sent to live at the Cadet Org, several blocks away. I was given training, which I later had to pay back as a freeloader's debt. They do that to everyone. That's in the Cadet Org, I believe. I was given training, which I later had to pay back as freeloader's debt. The promises of a wonderful environment, the most ethical on the planet, were lies. That's the love bombing part. The slum in my home city did not even approximate the vile conditions to which we were subjected in Scientology. My children were kept filthy. Their toys and clothing were distributed throughout the Cadet Org. No one owned anything. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Nobody owned anything? My husband spread the rumor that I was starving my children when the Cadet Org did not feed them properly. When I protested the conditions of the Cadet Org and said I needed to route out of the Sea Org to support them or get some welfare, I was told it was unethical to use welfare and I could not route out. I sent my children to live with my parents while I attempted to route out of the Sea Org. My husband, aided by his auditor and girlfriend, stole them. What a great guy he was, huh? It's disgusting. My husband spread the rumor. Wait, okay, never mind. The acting ED of the mission and my husband, who worked there, had spread lies about me. So after I routed out, got back to the mission and attempted to retrieve my children, no one would speak to me. They gave no thought to the welfare of my children. or the fact that I had legal custody. WOG laws. Sorry for being rude, you guys. I'm just repeating. WOG laws don't matter in Scientology. My ex worked on staff all day and night, so from a very early age, my oldest daughter was left to babysit the younger children, including neighbors. He married a woman who believed Hubbard's idea that it was better if the real parents did not raise their own kids. Mutual engrams, you know. So they proceeded to neglect my children, causing my oldest daughter to become unstable and criminal, and my 5-year-old son to get hit and KILLED by a car as he played unsupervised in a busy street. They swore he was protected by postulates. That's terrible. I knew there had to be accidents with the children. So sad. I was ostracized by people at the mission, and I was not allowed input regarding my children's upbringing. But at least I could see my children occasionally. I had been forbidden to criticize their upbringing. I feared loss, yet again, of my children if I spoke up. Although I had said I was done with Scientology, I was told I could never see my children again unless I came up with the money for auditing and my freeloader's debt. I was also told that I would be declared suppressive if I told anyone what they had done with my children. The acting ED said that he intended to lie and say I had blown the Sea Org, so no one would listen to me anyway. They paid no attention to the harm they were doing to my children by abruptly depriving them of their mother. I had been their major supporting parent since their births. I really feel like names need to be just thrown all over the place. If the clown courts aren't going to do anything, we might as well out these people for what they're doing. When my daughter was 5, she put razor blades in her stepmother's purse to get even. My son clung to anyone with long dark hair like mine, and my second daughter was also hit by a car. She was not KILLED. Her eye, however, was permanently damaged when she was 2. Another Scientology child of 8 was left to babysit her, and 5 other children. Keep saying this, you guys. This is happening right now. The Scientologist whose house they were using was a beautician and had left her supplies lying about. My daughter had rubbed her hair dye into her eye. It's negligence, whether willful or not. I babysat other staff members' children and really loved them. One thing was common in all families. Most had 1 or more divorces. The children were all deprived of a normal, secure upbringing. In the Sea Org, many exec families, I'm going to repeat this. So every time you guys hear, oh, former executive, former Scientology executive, remember this. In the Sea Org, many exec families had me babysit during my enhancement time because the conditions in the cadet org were so bad. So she can't see her own children, but she can definitely babysit other people's that were executives. Later, they all were ordered to send their children to the cadet org anyway. Several children got in legal trouble for roaming the streets of Los Angeles unsupervised. Their parents got in trouble for not handling their kids, in spite of the fact that they were given no time to do so. Sea Org activities demanded the children and parents were deprived of each other's company. That's like really the rules there. The children were deprived of adequate love and guidance. That's very sad. Instead, they were given Hubbard's trite phrases with which to guide their lives. They were never taught to think or reason beyond using a Hubbardism. That's also why they're breeding so many psychopaths and narcissists. I mean, it's just a narcissism breeding ground. One little baby I knew in the Sea Org got HERPES during a cadet org epidemic. Wonder if she was SA'd. A 14-year-old girl disclosed to me how she and a few other little girls were leaving the cadet org in the daytime and performing blank services for one of the girls' uncles in exchange for money. I heard this one before. A man who worked in the cadet org admitted he was sexually molesting the children. A man who worked in the cadet org admitted he was sexually molesting the children. Although these incidents were written up, as far as I know, they were never handled. Wonder if that's, well, it's so prevalent. Wally, that creep Wally Banks or whatever his name is, but it's so prevalent. But I heard a story that was exactly like that about that creep scum. Lots of creep scum to go around. I saw one staff member's child who had been declared a suppressive person at age 12. I saw one staff member's child who had been declared a suppressive person at age 12 turn out onto the street with no means of support. When he tried to sneak into the galley line to get some food, he was physically jumped by two adults who forced him outside again. Monsters. That's why some of these elderly walking around, broken back, broken knee, let them just croak. Let them croak in the most awful, heinous conditions. If they, in fact, are the ones we're trying to save. One woman's baby became very ill, thin and colicky. After using the Hubbard's baby formula, we were not allowed to say it was bad. However, how I respected her for saying that it was hurting her baby and she was going to give him formula. He then recovered fully. I forgot what that garbage is that stupid Hubbard tried to tell people. It's very dangerous. I don't know, I'll find it later. Barley or some crap? Isn't barley like what you feed goats and cows? Another family always delivered their children at home. Oh, I knew it. I absolutely freaking knew this was going on. Another family always delivered their children at home and never reported the births. I knew they were doing that. If their children ever want to join society, there will be no record of them. I knew of another baby who died during a home birth with the cord wrapped around its neck. A simple procedure with adequate hospital care. But Scientologists don't believe in that sort of thing. I'm starting to wonder if, and other ex-children Scientologists have talked about that with that mandated reporting and that. But I also think it's this, layer upon secret upon secret upon secret is what allows them to continue. So an innocent baby died because there was not adequate medical care. I mean, you don't necessarily, and I don't have children, so I'm not trying to be Miss Know-It-All, but you don't have to do all those medications and that, and I don't believe in a lot of that stuff. I don't believe in about 99% of it, but just medical equipment. Couldn't they at least have those midwives and that just come in? Or be close to a hospital to save the baby? So how many of those undocumented babies have passed? How many of those undocumented children have just, died in the under the ship, where they put all the engine room, where they like to torture the children that are getting SA'd? My children, those who managed to survive a Scientology upbringing, are ill-adjusted and have all sorts of social problems. My middle daughter, who rejected Scientology as the thing that broke up her family, has managed to graduate from college through hard work and scholarships. Her family made a lot of money, but it was dedicated to the bridge. She does not really want a career. However, she says all she wants is a stable family where she can share love, something she never had growing up. The atrocities that have been committed against children by individuals using Scientology technology are reprehensible enough to provide cause to place the cult in government receivership. But if government agencies cannot or will not do anything, then we must. We must speak out via pamphlets, books, films, videos, interviews, and any other media. Only by joining together and speaking up publicly can we protect other children from the horrors to which our own were subjected. Yolanda Howell. Yolanda, thank you for speaking out about the tragedy Scientology caused your family. My heart goes out to you with testimony like yours. Perhaps we can prevent future abuses of the cult's total power over innocent lives. And that was back in, again, 1994. I will make sure to leave the link. I hats off to this mother. She really tried to get her children. So you have to wonder, well, I don't really wonder. I'm sure it's happening a lot. How many of these mothers, or fathers too, were trying to get their children out? Like, they were tricked either into signing away their rights, or, they try to bully their way and say, no, your child's not getting out. Meanwhile, those scumbags are the ones hurting your children, crawling into their bed in the middle of the night when they're 13 years old. So, hats off to this mother who did try real hard to get her children. And then she lost one of her babies. How many more other babies and toddlers have been forgotten, and not mentioned because it was all hidden? So we got to just keep screaming to the top of our lungs. And I'm going to keep on talking. It's what I do. Peace.